Oftentimes, when students start to write their speech, they usually think, oh, I need to write out my speech the same way I would write out a paper. But then I say, no, don't write out your speech like a paper. Write it out more like an outline. And this sometimes causes a little bit of confusion. I think more so just because it's a new concept that most students haven't actually had to cover before. You may have had some of these same questions. Well, why an outline? How does an outline help me with my speech? In this video, that's exactly what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about, well, what is a full sentence outline? What's a speaking outline? How they benefit you? And how to convert your full sentence outline to a speaking outline that you can use during your speech. So let's start thinking about that full sentence outline. The full sentence outline is the outline that you use to expand all your ideas. Everything from your attention getter to your listener relevance links, your credibility through this preview, your transitions, your main points and subpoints, your thesis review, your clincher. Now be aware that because it's a full sentence outline, you write out your main points and subpoints as complete full sentences, not just phrases or keywords. So here is an example of what you would have in your body. Remember, we're using full sentences. And in general, it's a good idea to have parallel structure. So here's our example. Student A came up with, there are several benefits to coconut oil for the inside of the body. And there are several benefits to coconut oil for the outside of the body. These are both really strong sentences for a full sentence outline. Keep in mind, the sentences do not need to be overly complex. They just need to tell the person who's reading your information what that main point or even subpoint will cover. Now, we've thought about the full sentence outline. Let's turn our attention to the speaking outline. The speaking outline just merely highlights what you need during your speech. This is basically your notes. It's going to be your easy reference to the ideas that you've already been working on for quite some time. The main difference here is that your main points and subpoints are written as keywords and key phrases. This helps you to avoid reading directly from your paper. Now, when I say go for keywords and key phrases, you will need to decide how much to add on your sheet. Remember, we're aiming for extemporaneous. If you feel like you need to have a few more words written down, maybe even have a part of a sentence, that's fine. But don't have every single word verbatim written down as you plan to say it. So, in my speaking outline, using those same examples from before, I know that I can convert that first main point to inside the body and the second main point to the outside of the body. Because this is what I'm going to use during my speech, I don't really need to have that full sentence there. I know when I glance down at my notes, inside the body, it's all about what I need to have for coconut oil. I would definitely make sure to have subpoints underneath, so that way, in case anything gets a little fuzzy, if my nervousness happens to get the best of me, I can still look down and know what those subpoints are. But I don't need to read my paper and be so dependent upon it. Now, your speaking outline is really dependent upon how you change your full sentence outline to your notes. First step, to go from your final draft of your full sentence outline to your speaking outline, revise your full sentence outline. This is probably one of the most critical steps to having a really strong speaking outline. Your notes will never be that great if there are typos or even mistakes in your full sentence outline to begin with. So make sure that you go over what's there, you read over any feedback that's been given to you, and you say it out loud. Just to make sure everything sounds good. Then go in and change all your full sentences of the body, those main points, those subpoints, to phrases. Yes, just like in the example before. Take that full sentence and make it a phrase that still helps you understand what the main point is about or what the subpoint is about, but doesn't make you so reliant on looking down at your notes. My word of caution is keep any oral citations and transitions as complete sentences. Oral citations are the direct quotes or even paraphrasing of material from your sources. Therefore, you don't want to almost get it right or kind of mess up on a quote. Because what if you spread information as a quote and it's wrong? Then someone may fact check it later and question your credibility. No one's going to fault you for making sure you have the accurate quote. So make sure you have that complete sentence down. With the transition, usually I notice that students struggle with how to properly phrase their transition. So I always recommend that you have it completely written down on your notes, just in case. Remember that you can go ahead and delete those APA references for your speaking outline. You don't need them during your actual speech. Your instructor already knows what your APA references are, and you want to make sure that you don't accidentally read your APA reference to your audience. So go ahead and delete those. Now with your introduction and your conclusion, I say it's really your choice if you want to go phrases, keywords, or if you want to go with complete sentences. I know some students, hey, they just need a keyword here or a key phrase there, and they have exactly what they need for their attention getter, their listener relevance link, their speaker credibility, their thesis preview, thesis review, and clincher. But a few, and probably even more than a few, need to see the sentence. So, when it comes to your speaking outline, go with what is best for you. If you need to have all that written down, go for it. There is nothing wrong with making sure that you're confident with your speaking outline on speech day. After you have your speaking outline content down, make sure to add some delivery cues where needed. You already know some of your strengths and areas of improvement when it comes to your delivery. So make sure that you say, hey, look at my audience. If you know eye contact is not your strong suit. Or breathe, smile. Those little cues here and there will probably help you when you need it the most. Sometimes even just saying click now as you click through your PowerPoint so that your PowerPoint corresponds to your speech can help make sure that your visual aid is corresponding to what you're talking about. My only recommendation with delivery cues is to make sure that you style it differently in your notes, whether that be changing the color or changing the font style. It makes it easier if it's a different style, so that way you don't accidentally read it. The last thing you want is to say, look up, and then realize, oh, that was just my delivery cue. I didn't actually mean to say look up to my audience. Now with your speaking outline, I recommend 1 to 2 sheets of paper. And then if you're going to use note cards, 5 to 10 note cards instead. You can even use less note cards if necessary or if desired. In fact, when it comes to your note cards, use as few as you really need. Again, it's going to be based on what you know maybe you're not so clear on, or even just having a comfort, a security blanket up there with you. Always number your cards. If you look at the picture here off to the side, you'll see that these are numbered. That's going to help you as you're moving through your speech, just in case you get a little bit lost. You can mentally make sure, hey, I just covered card number 2. Let me make sure I look down to try to find card number 3. Additionally, only write on one side of your note card. That's going to help ease some confusion. And it may be helpful to use abbreviations when possible. Use only main points and subpoints and as keywords on your cards. Again, you know your note cards aren't incredibly large, so it's going to help you as you are moving through it. but make sure that you write out statistics and quotes. Any numbers that may confuse your audience or may seem a little bit fuzzy when you say it out loud, go ahead and write it out verbatim. You don't want to say, there's like 85%, because that doesn't sound very confident. You want to say, there's 85% of people. That sounds confident and adds to your credibility. And again, with those delivery cues, if your note cards, make sure that you have something there style-wise to differentiate it, even if it's just changing the pen color. I've seen one student who organized her note cards by punching a hole at the top and put the note cards on a key ring. That's probably a really smart idea if you know that you may have some nervousness on speech day. So again, in this video we talked about the full sentence outline, the speaking outline, how we can use them, and how to go from the full sentence to your speaking outline. I hope that now with some practice and some reflection, you have a better understanding of how these outlines can help make you the best speaker possible.